Um, I've been interested in engineering since the year dot. My father always wanted me to be an engineer, but I found biology much more fun, I suppose, much more intriguing, but always looked upon organisms as some sort of engineering. In fact, I've got a certain amount of dirt under my fingernails at the moment because I'm doing a lot of work in my little workshop. So we set up with George Eronimidis, who Phil has mentioned already, the first Centre for Biomimetics in the early 1990s, I think, with a guy, Roger Turner from ICI, with whom we'd done some work on mother of pearl, and he came in to be the manager. And then we got a woman who just got some babies and so therefore, oh, sorry, she was sending them off to school, that was it. So during term time, she was able to work with us part-time. And we had a most wonderful team. And for 9 years, we were really motoring. We were the only profit-making unit on campus. We had about 15 people in the group at one time. And we were something like 60% of our income was from industry of one sort or another, so rather than from grants. So that was a sort of prototype, as far as I was concerned, of certainly the university end of doing biomimetics. But it was obvious that every time George and I sat down with some company or other and having to describe biomimetics and what they could do, one of the problems was that they didn't really seem to know what their problems were. And the other thing, of course, was the difficulty of translating those problems into some sort of biomimetic thing. George used to distill the engineering side of the problem, or the technical side, down to something just a little short of the second law of thermodynamics. I would then take that, develop it into some appropriate biological topic area, and then sort of try and give a somewhat engineering or physical translation of that to George. And George would then translate that back into some sort of engineering approach. But this was totally ad hoc. It obviously relied on our skills, and we knew each other very well. So we knew how to pass information between us. And I then got to Bath University and found myself on my own as far as this was concerned, and started having to develop a system which would contain all this sort of skill and knowledge, but which actually didn't need me either in order for it to go. And so the last 10 years, I suppose, I've been developing an ontology of all this. An ontology is a sort of database on steroids, if you like, that you can add information to as you go along. And I've based that on the Russian inventive problem-solving system called TRIZ. It's still in research stage. As ever, I'm looking around for some money and somebody to help me working on it. But that will come along, I'm sure, as long as I don't die first. In which case, one of you may well inherit it, for all I know. Anyway, there you are. That's me. Oh, and I should add, by the way, that together with Norbert, I started off this race to get a SIG in the Design Society. But Norbert is a much better politician than I am, and so I tend to sit in the background.